Hello everyone and welcome to another News Coolum video. I might make this just a short one because I'm testing out some new camera equipment. Hopefully it lets me do car reviews and road trips a little bit easier. Just seeing how it works out on the fly and then maybe being able to capture a little bit of extra with the landscape, right? A lot of times I feel like I'm not necessarily getting all of the landscape that you could be seeing while I'm driving. Information on the display, hopefully some information on the driver instrument control panel, the DIC, and then of course just being able to face the camera and talk to you. Maybe even a little bit of doggy cam with his little dirty puked in doggy bed that probably needs to go in the bin. But yeah, just trying to get a little bit of extra, I don't know, angles and a little bit of extra camera work done for the cars. And, I didn't really have anything in particular right now. I'm just doing my sort of regular grocery run, shopping trip. One thing I did want to note, though, is that there's a lot of activity that's been going on with the charging infrastructure. Not necessarily in my area exactly, but well within my range. The problem is my range is being restricted, right? Because I'm one of the primary caretakers for a family member who's in hospice, and while I do need to go shopping and do things occasionally, I've kind of had to limit my time away or time that I'm unavailable to no more than maybe 4 to 5 hour stints, just because that's sort of the limit of the window that I can offer in terms of care. So just being sort of a responsible adult, there's a lot of stuff that I can't do sort of ranging away from home, and then of course in conjunction with the fact that I still do have a full-time job that I can luckily still work from home, it means that I'm sort of stuck in location and limited in time, and when I can travel I can't get out that much. And so one of the things is Electrify America just recently opened up their sort of signature marquee station in San Francisco. I think it's Harrison Street, the garage complex there, and it's a completely indoor facility. Not really in the sense that the garage is still open to the street, right? You can just drive right in, but it's mostly enclosed, right? They have some other garage located DC fast chargers, but nothing to this scale. This is 20 chargers, I think 20 350 kilowatt balanced chargers, so really 10 350 kilowatt stalls, but that's still a massive, that's nearly a 4 megawatt deployment right there. They have a lounge, they have snacks, so good on Electrify America, and I'd love to be able to go and visit it, but again, just the round trip getting down there and back, I'm personally looking at least 6 to 7 hours, not counting the time that I'm there, not counting the other things that I would be doing to justify a trip of that length. So unfortunately, I'm not able to review that right now, but I'll stop by at some point and give my sort of site review officially in person for that Electrify America location. In addition to that, like I said, there's a lot of little movement around. I need to catch back up with ChargeNet. They've opened another 1 or 2 sites. It looks like they have another one in queue in Rohnert Park. So I want to check out to see what they're doing. EV Range has been doing a great job. They finally got the one charger I was concerned about not going in online on Highway 395. It's sort of bridging that gap from Bridgeport up toward Reno. They finally got that one online. Of course, they have one in Carson City that's really nice. And then EV Range is really sort of picking up on these little business locations that don't have chargers, and in locations that we need them, I'm still a little bit bummed after the CARB meeting where they sort of thumbed their nose up at the fact that we have a number of counties in California that still have no public charging infrastructure whatsoever, and then a number of counties in addition to that that have no Electrify America charging infrastructure. So after $800 million spent in the state of California, Electrify America is still leaving huge, massive gaps in the public charging infrastructure. And I'm sorry, but you're going to have a hard time convincing me that counties where a good percentage of the population are on seasonal work, temporary work, barely making minimum wage, that those don't qualify as disadvantaged communities. You're going to have a hard time convincing me of that. And yet the CARB board members, they're like, yeah, whatever, as long as our district is covered, we don't really care what Electrify America is doing. So they seemed completely unconcerned with the fact that Northern California right now still has a gap in our public charging infrastructure the size of West Virginia. And it's why I keep telling people from West Virginia, Pennsylvania, that area that, hey, look, I know your pain because we're feeling it up here too. There are a number of national parks that I would like to go to visit that are difficult because an EV can't really get there without public infrastructure. You know, there's a number of national forests. I've been able to visit on longer trips, but that lack of public charging infrastructure makes day trips to those national parks almost impossible. And even when I'm saying day trips, right, you're still looking at 6 to 8 hours just to drive there. But you can't even get up there, view the park, and, you know, spend the night and get back home again in a reasonable period of time. Like, it's just sad that after $800 million, we don't have that to show from Electrify America, and their very purpose was to be supporting and building infrastructure in areas that don't have it. So that's a little bit of a letdown. But on the positive note, with ChargePoint, I'm really impressed with them. Not only have they worked out contracts with Mercedes and Volvo and now Walmart, even on their own, they're starting to deploy their faster units. And this is something that I've kind of suggested that they needed to do anyway, where we have this West Coast charging corridor that they built in right along Interstate 5. And it's mostly just 62.5 kilowatt ChargePoint Express units, which are fine for the Bolt EV, but they're slow for less efficient, bigger battery, faster charging EVs. And so ChargePoint, to their credit, what they've been doing is they've been adding ChargePoint Express Plus units, the 200 kilowatt to 400 kilowatt, depending on how they're configured, chargers. They're starting to add them to these Express Plus sites, or they're starting to add them to the ChargePoint Express sites, I should say. And so that's good to see. And then, like I said, in combination with Mercedes and with Walmart in particular, it looks like we could be seeing, you know, thousands of these Express Plus 200 kilowatt chargers, or 200 to 400 kilowatt chargers being deployed all across the country. And, you know, they are one of my more favorite chargers right now, just in terms of ChargePoint's activation times are better. They have some things they need to work on, right? I don't like the interface screen on the unit. I think that could use some work. But overall, they're just a solid workhorse charger. I think, I think even Kyle Connor over at Out of Spec had mentioned that ChargePoint is kind of like the glue, the charging infrastructure glue that's holding the country together. And then in terms of just following those build-outs right now, Walter over at the Network Architect channel, he's been doing great coverage for the Walmart expansion, the Mercedes expansion. So I would pay attention, see what they're doing. And then, of course, Walter's also doing a good job covering the Pilot Flying J expansion with EVgo, which they were recently sold to Berkshire Hathaway. And so it seems like there might have been a pause in their charger deployment plan. Hopefully not too much of one, and hopefully they continue with EVgo. EVgo's hardware is very good. Their connections and business contacts with GM, so it's that Delta 350 kilowatt units with the split power. I think those are roughly on par with the ChargePoint Express units, but realistically, I think the Express Plus units are a little bit better just in terms of their activation times, their site power distributions, but the externals and the hardware on the Delta 350 kilowatt that EVgo is using, I actually like better. So those two are just solid offerings right now, and they're being built out in the thousands at this point. Like I said, we're seeing a really massive build out of those charging points, and so I think there's a lot of positive movement. And in fact, I'm going to be going by a Pilot Flying J anyway, probably just grabbing a lunch on this shopping trip, and then I'll do a quick update just to check to see if they're actually building their chargers, which I'm not holding my breath. California is really hard on charging providers, so we usually get our hardware last, right? People were charging on Electrify America for months and months and months before they built their first Electrify America charger in California. And so we're usually late to the party, over-regulated and under-freedomed, as some people would say, in the state of California. So we'll see. But as it stands, like I said, I'm just kind of taking a relaxing trip. I did charge all the way to 100% in my Bolt EV because I kind of wanted to do a capacity check if I could. I just don't know if I'm going to burn through energy fast enough on this trip to actually be able to look at the battery percentage and say with any sort of reasonable certainty what my actual capacity is. So maybe that will be a trip for another day. Again, those capacity test trips often take 5 to 6 hours, and a lot of high-speed driving, which I just don't have time to do in terms of just all of the other stuff that I also have to do when I'm out. So anyway, like I said, just kind of testing out. This was actually just a one camera shot, even though I might have spliced in some B-roll here or there. But let me know what you think of the new sort of camera angle, camera shot. How did it turn out? The audio should be fine. I have my separate mic, my lapel mic. But just in terms of the camera, the visuals, the audio, well, I guess not the audio, but just how looking around different scenery, the different takes, being able to see what's going on the screen. If I do my energy screen, I can bring it up there, hold the home button, bring it back to Android Auto. So I'm just trying to get a feel for how well I can actually display almost from a passenger point of view. That's kind of what I was looking for. So let me know how well I did, and yeah, I'm gonna turn off the camera now and then maybe go check around as I'm doing some shopping to see if there's been any progress with any of the other public charging. So as always, thank you for watching.